Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And last month, for the part 1 of the 3.5 anniversary, we got confirmation, and they put it in game immediately, that free-to-play units are going to get skill fusions. And I haven't done any of them so far. There've only been 3. And now today we're going to do one. And it's objectively the best character out of the 3 to get their skill fusion that were free to play. And that is the OG Warrior's Mind Shion. So she came out for the 1.5 anniversary. 2 years ago. She's a 2-year-old character, free to play. And you know what? She's not a terrible character even right now, for at least beginner people. Single target dark, okay. Her first skill increases all physical character allies' crit damage by 5%, and that stacks forever. 5% stacking crit damage. Crit is one of the strongest buffs in the game, and us having stacking crit is great. And then she also gives Blue's alt gauge increase. And then her second skill is an orb change. Awesome. She's fairly generic for this, and if you're running a physical team, which there are quite a few physical teams, then you're going to get extra crit damage. But when you fuse her, it becomes 15% crit damage. So at level 10, 5% for crit, 20% for the gauge. After the skill fusion, it's 15% crit damage and still 20% for the gauge. 15% crit damage is a lot more than 5%. And you can stack that a lot faster. You know, you do 2 stacks of that, you're at 30%. That would have been a whole 8 turns of stacking with Shion, if not more. So 15, 30, 45, increments of 15% crit damage is going to be huge for physical teams. And, it's just a great thing that we got a very good physical team very, very recently. So let's do a little bit of testing first and see what this actually does to our damage. So let's do a before and after showcase with her 5%, and then we'll come back with 15, and then we'll put her on some new teams as well. Okay, so for the first test, we are here. Again, Shion is not skill fused yet, but we have been stacking. We're in the Chamber of Memories for the Warrior's Mind 1.0 team. We are ready to nuke. We have used the full buff. And what are we looking like right now? We've got 145% attack, and we've got 5 stacks of crit damage. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Look, I can do math. Okay, 25% crit damage on top of guaranteed crits, and then extra crit damage from Violet, and then the physical attack from Lumi. So we've gotten quite a few stacks of Velzard. We've gotten 5 stacks of Shion, which is decent. I mean, it costs 100 skill points now, so it's not cheap. The only thing we're missing on this nuke turn is the defense down from Rimuru's ult rush ability. We didn't use that at any point. So, not a big deal though. Like, defense, 20% defense down is a joke. So let's just see how much we nuke for, and then we will come back when Shion is skill fused, and then we'll do 5 stacks of 15 instead. So this is... let's just see. 3.9 million damage. Okay, not bad for a 2-year-old team. Okay, fine. 3.9. That's the line that we're setting for ourselves. Let's come back now with 5 stacks of 15 and the same amount of buffs from everybody else, and let's see how that number changes. I always do like to get these on camera when we actually do the fusion itself. They do cost a lot. 15 rainbows to do that. That is certainly not the most cheap thing in the world. Like, that's 5 times more expensive than a normal character to skill fuse. I don't know why they did that. They're free-to-play units. But at least they do give us the skill enhancements from the shop to get them done. At least I think it's enough. So, I mean, we can buy a max of 30 from the flashback shop? Is it the flashback shop? Or is it the corridor shop? It is the corridor of awakening shop. Okay, that's where you get the extra skill enhancements for them. Okay. Well, let's go back to Shion and finish her skill enhancement. And then we'll jump back into the fight. Shion. Skill. Ooh, it's nice and gold now. Ooh, fancy. Well, no, that'll probably change back to rainbow when we do this. Okay, yeah, it looks like they should give us enough to fully max it out, as long as you buy all those. I mean, you can use the perfect strikings, but why would you? And it takes exactly 30. Okay. 15 points as well. Is that cheaper? I think it is cheaper. Oh. 15% crit damage and 5 points cheaper, huh? I'm okay with that, right? Oh yeah, it is. 35 starting cost, 25 starting cost. Oh yeah, this is easily the best free-to-play skill fusion that we got out of the 3. Alright, let's go back into the fight, though. Alright, we are back on turn 8. We are back up to 145% attack, but now instead of 25% crit damage after 5 uses, it's 75% crit damage, which is a whole lot higher than 25. So we did 3.9 million on the first run. Let's see how much higher that is now. 3.9 to 4.7. Okay. Not as wild as one would expect, but this is also because we're already getting crit damage from another source, which is Violet, and doubling up on buffs is generally not something you want to do. You want to add a whole new buff into the calculation, but we did get quite a bit more damage out of that, make no mistake. So, now that we've used her on her old team, let's put her on a team that's a bit more recent, that is physical focused. Ah, man, if only there was a good physical team that might be able to make use of some crit damage and maybe a crit debuff. Oh, too bad. I guess we'll just have to use Warrior's Mind 2.0, where we do have a team that is mostly based on debuffs and enhance the debuffs and can use crit because they're all physical. So we're going to bring the OG Masked Hero for the crit resistance and the crit rate, Shion for the stacking crit damage, and then Goblet, Violet, and Blanc for all they do, and then Shuna. We're going to go into Conquest Calamity Hinata, who does technically have crit resistance. It's not really going to make that much of a difference, though. She has 13.2 million HP, which means that she can take a few hits before she ends up keeling over. But the crit resistance that we're going to get from the Masked Hero is going to be severely, severely enhanced by all of the Dread and the Control stacks. And we'll get the Weakness Strike stacks from the Control, and we'll have the extra type advantage. So this should probably work fairly well as for like players that don't have those tippity top tier other support options like Divine General Diablo or the OG, or not the OG, but the Divine General Hero or whoever else. Like, this could be a fairly competent support team with 2 very old characters, one of which is free to play. So let's do let's just take you out. And then we'll take the hero out. We got 36 skill points to start out with, so we can use the Rainbow Convert and hit everything besides Goblet, because that makes so much sense right there. Alright, 20k, 11k, 20k, excellent. My Blanc now does have all of her alt gauge enhancement rocks filled up, and that looks like 3 orbs for Blanc and 3 orbs for Goblet. Okay, perfect. We got EX alts for them. That is what I like to see. So let's go ahead and control, debuff, orange buff. Boom, boom, boom. Start getting the pierce resistance stacks on. I don't know if we have enough points to use everything here. We actually don't need Violet up here anymore, do we? She doesn't have any orbs anyways. So let's do some crit damage. Boom. Alright, so Shuna will convert. All these oranges will be buffed. Perfect. Another debuff for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. EX alts for both our dark characters. Maximum points right there. Up to 81,000 damage on a hit. Alright. Yeah, really glad that we have this fight. I wish these things were permanent. These are just great testing areas more than anything else. Okay, so we have 5 turns to get max points here. 180. Let's do another stack of the crit damage. And then let's go ahead. Ooh. What do we do here? Do we want to nuke next turn? I guess we probably could. Yeah, let's do that. So let's do more debuffs. So now we're pretty much going to be capped out now. And then we'll just take you out of here. The orange buff is still active, so we don't need to use it again. So we'll just bring Violet up here, and then we'll bring the hero in, and we'll keep those guys in the back. We can rewind, we can put some more control on. Not that it's going to help the two in the back, but that just means it'll be active next turn. And then we could use Shuna here. Technically, we could use her twice if we really, really wanted to, but I don't think that's entirely necessary. We just need to get back up to 150 to 180 skill points, and I'm pretty sure we can do that with this rewind being active. So actually, after this hit, I want to see how much that crit resistance... Actually, we're not active yet, so I do want to see how much crit resistance we're going to get out of it. So let's do another convert, and we don't have to do anything else. How many points do we need to nuke, though? So we need 90 there, plus 50, plus 55. So 105, 195 skill points? We can do that with Blanc's skill. All right, perfect. I think we are all set then. And Shion, since she is Warrior's Mind, and she is a dark character, she is benefiting off of all these buffs. Would Shion just outright kill? Is that a possibility? This is her showcase after all. And we didn't get her ult in like the first clips where she was just doing the damage testing. We should probably do that. Okay, so let's bring Blanc in for Violet since we're not going to nuke with her. We don't need the control stacks or anything, so let's do this. Boom. Let's put the crit buff... Oh, actually, let's do this one first. It doesn't really matter, no, does it? Actually, it kind of does. So let's do the big time buff, the dark debuff, which is going to be really important. We can do the this free skill, not free, but 20-point skill. That'll put us over the 100-point cap, which means that the crit resistance now, because the hero skill fuse, is now up to 40%, and it leaves 55 points to bring in Gobwa and use her Pierce skill. So even though Hinata does have Pierce resistance, it's not actually going to make all that much of a difference, because we're going to negate probably most of it, if not all of it. Probably all of it, yes, guaranteed, with the extra stacks. Okay, boom, full hand right here. I'm going to send the Shion ult, and if she does kill, then hilarious. Excellent. So we have 50% crit resistance on her, but we are lowering it by 68%. So we have a net positive 18% crit resistance down, right? Yeah, 18%. And then Blanc and technically Shion, they have 30% extra crit damage. Yeah, right here. Perfect. Okay, well, this should be pretty entertaining. Let's turn these on. And let's see how much a Shion orb does. Just for funsies, one of these. You know what? We'll turn this off. I've been told to do that. 657,000 damage for a Shion hit. For a free-to-play unit. Okay, oh god, this is so slow. 839k. We're just swimming. We're swimming through glue right now. Alright, Shion. I mean, her ult looks good for a free-to-play character. Especially a 2-year-old. 5.2 million damage. 5.2 million on a free-to-play character in 4 turns? I mean, I'd call that pretty good. And now Blanc's going to do a lot of damage because we've got crit now on this team, when normally we would probably run synergy. But equal amounts of synergy and crit are not equal amounts of damage support. Blanc does 60 million. Okay, yeah, it's fine, whatever. Nobody cares about Blanc's damage. We know she can do it. But 5.2 million for a free-to-play Shion? I mean, yeah, she works pretty well on this team. Is it like the super big mommy damage optimized team? No. Will it kill almost anything in the game? Yeah, minus like Inferno 3 or Inferno 2 and Dire 2 difficulties for beatdown battles. It'll kill pretty much anything. So, Shion, gonna be maybe a very decent support character for the future physical teams if you can use crit efficiently. And even if you can't, if you have this team, like, you can kind of negate a lot of that. Alright, so unfortunately there aren't really that many crit-focused teams. Like, Warrior's Mind was crit-focused, Protector of Peace is crit focus, but that's a green team and that's an awful thing to run. You pretty much need all Protector of Peace units for that to work, and Shion is not, at least I don't think she's on Protector of Peace. Get me honest, I haven't really looked at her forces. No, she's on Ogre's Pride, which is a Pierce and Synergy focused team. They don't have anyone to give crit, so we need to swap one of those characters out, which I guess you technically could. Like, you could take out Momiji or Shuna or someone, probably, well, no. If you want to optimize, the only person you could take out would be, well, you need a character to give crit, and then Shion. It's a double package. And you can't run Guy because he wouldn't give it to magic characters. Yeah, we just need more crit units. We just need more crit-focused teams. They're like a dime a dozen. Freerin and Ra for Synergy. Tempest Lead is Pierce. Fount of Wisdom is Pierce. Visions of Coleus is Synergy. Goddess of Destiny is Magic, so they wouldn't get the crit buff from Shion because she's only doing it to physical. Antagonist, Octagram Demon Lord. Like, we don't actually have a lot of crit teams in this game. Kind of wild. But I think we can kind of end the showcase. She is only a free-to-play character. She is quite expensive to skill fuse. Like, again, in order to even get the skill fusion, you need 15 of the attack rainbow skills, which is not something that a lot of newer players are going to have access to, especially to give to a free-to-play character. They're going to prioritize the big-time units, the EX Unbounds and their attack skills more than the Shion. But if you are a long-term player, a medium-length player, and you've got your team set up and the Shion does interest you for the stacking crit damage, she might be worth it in the future. Maybe not as a top-tier support option, but as a very viable alternative for a crit-focused team that we'll get in the future, hopefully. But let me know what you guys think of this new Shion and her skill fusion. I think she's fairly solid for most people, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.